What's going on, Game Dad fam? 2021 has officially begun, and since I have no original content or ideas, I decided to make a top 10 games of 2020 list. Now, I just gotta say, 2020 was a really good year in gaming. Like, really good. Like, to give you an idea on what didn't make the list, I did not put enough time into Ghost of Tsushima to feel fair adding it on the list. I didn't even play Doom Eternal, Ori and the Will of the Wisps, Assassin's Creed Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legion. So there was a lot of stuff that didn't make the cut, and yet, that's a good thing. There were so many good games. Now, as a rule, I won't be putting any remasters on this list, unless the only way I'm going to add a game that was somehow made before is if the experience is fundamentally different than the original. So, Persona 5 Royal, for instance, won't make this list because it's too close to Persona 5. But you should play Persona 5 Royal. Just play it even if you have played Persona 5. Just play Persona 5 Royal. You should. So, without further ado, these are my top 10 games of 2020. Number 10, Super Mario Bros. 35. I know, okay, I get it. It's just Mario. But the game is so much fun. The formula is so simple. Mario Bros. 1 against 34 other players, last one standing wins, and part of my love is certainly that I grew up a Mario kid, but much like how Tetris 99 made me fall in love with Tetris all over again, Mario 35 makes me fall in love with Mario all over again. Games are fun and fast-paced, and old stalwarts like me are rewarded for knowing where secrets like 1-ups are, but new mechanics like multi-bouncing for time and coin management let anyone get in on the ground floor. It's a rush, and the mechanics feel awesome even in the modern day. I'd honestly probably put it higher on the list, but I have to mark against it because apparently it's only available until the end of March, and while I hope Nintendo changes its mind, that certainly sours things. Still, if you have a Switch and an online subscription, it's absolutely worth it to waste a few minutes playing Mario 35. Number 9, Animal Crossing: New Horizons. Let's be honest. 2020 was, it was a hard year, and I don't think I need to explain more than that. And then, just when we all needed something to break away with, when everything started to spiral, we got it. Animal Crossing: New Horizons is so much of what we know from past Animal Crossing games, and so much more. Sure, you can expand a house and go fishing and collect fossils and stuff like that, but things like pole vaulting, terraforming, and more have brought so much new life to the franchise. Even past that, there's a heightened level of social play, and for me personally, that was a big thing. It's one thing to get a letter from your in-game mom. It's another to get a letter from your son saying I love you with a present attached. Sending letters to friends with gifts, getting storage full of outfits to change just because you want to do fashion, looking for shooting stars in the night sky. It's the little things that make New Horizons an experience. It's not just fun, it's relaxing, and it's the perfect island getaway from all your troubles. Number 8, The Last of Us 2. I want to be frank about this one. I almost didn't include it. A lot of people were upset at some of the problematic elements circling around this sort of glorification of trauma it involves, and that's not for everyone. But underneath all that pain, there is a story here. A story of loss and pain, but also of love, and the difficulties in navigating a strange and dangerous world. The game is fun and engaging, tackles serious topics, and ultimately tells a touching, if difficult, story. It's the characters that sell The Last of Us for me. Folks like Joel, and Ellie, and Abby, and Dina, and more are dynamic characters. They're flawed, but relatable in their own ways, and dynamic enough to stand out. They aren't tropes, despite having options to become tropes, and they make the story stand out. The game is good, if difficult, but the narrative is what keeps me wanting to see more, even if it kinda hurts to keep going. And even if some of the puns were bad, even for me.
What is the downside to eating a clock? It's time-consuming.
Number 7. Streets of Rage 4. I'ma be honest, this might be nepotism, because Streets of Rage 2 is my favorite childhood beat-em-up, but I don't care. Streets of Rage 4 is just plain fun. The combat is cool, it's fast, it's hyperactive, the story is intriguing, but familiar. The graphics are great with the hand-drawn character art popping against the various backgrounds. The updates to the combat, now that's what really sells it. Characters have their main combos and differences in their movement speeds, and they have like signature moves like Axel's flaming uppercut or things like that. But they also have their powerful special moves. Now in the past, these would hurt you, so you didn't really ever feel like using them. And they kinda do here, but now they give you green health. And if you hit enemies before they hit you, you get that health back. So it creates a risk versus reward system that prioritizes high-speed play and makes every battle fun and a matchup to see how quickly you can run through things. Plus, all the characters are excellent. And between Adam and Cherry, I honestly don't even think I could pick a favorite character to play as. And let me just say, when it comes to a game like this, that is an excellent problem to have. Number 6. Trials of Mana. Yeah, there was a different full-fledged remix Square Enix released this year that had a good bit more work put into it, but Trials of Mana was still something special. Balancing new visuals that fit the aesthetic of the game perfectly with a game that mirrored the original in so many ways, Trials of Mana was excellently done. The characters all feel as different and unique in the original, but unlike in the original Super Famicom version, each of them feels balanced and viable, as do the different class paths. Changing out outfits to fit your aesthetic whims is an excellent touch, and the combat feels faithful to the original, but far more intuitive. Sure, what's here may feel basic to some, but it was a wonderful adventure for an old fan of the genre that let me relax and enjoy myself without sacrificing the quality. Some of the voice acting was a choice, but the game as a whole shines and makes you want to play more and more to try all the different character combinations. And the new post-game content, super fun. I absolutely recommend every JRPG fan gives it a try.
Going in. Get ready.
Number 5. Hades. Listen, Supergiant Games has never failed to disappoint, if we're going to be honest. They've made some excellent indies. Bastion, Pyre, Transistor. But Hades really is their magnum opus. It's a fast-paced roguelike where the concept is simple. You're the son of Hades, you have a number of weapons to choose from, escape the underworld, go. Simple enough, but it's so much more than that. The gameplay is tight and focused, continuously fun with that constant, just one more run mentality. Tons of potential upgrades to find and unlock, and lots of accessibility to help new folks of the genre enjoy it too. Things like God Mode allow my kids to enjoy it just as much as I enjoy it. But it's the design and character that's where Hades shines. People are unique, dialogue is great, the game is hilarious, it's emotional, it's powerful. Hades elevates above its contemporaries with a story and characters that make you want to see and play more, tied in with gameplay that makes you want to play more. And I'll be honest, it made me do exactly that as I jumped back in over and over and over again.
Couldn't have said it better myself.
Number 4. Spider-Man Miles Morales. Now, I'm gonna be blatantly honest here. I never got a chance to play the 2018 Spider-Man until this year with Spider-Man Remastered, and I didn't even play it until after Miles. But I consider Miles Morales a better game. Like, everything about it is great. Miles is fun and lovable, the NPCs are all interesting, the story is intense, it's the perfect length, allowing you to do a 100% run in under 20 hours, which further encourages a new game plus. It's absolutely gorgeous, and frankly, the representation is great. Miles Morales nails everything it sets out to do with a fun, rewarding game and story. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with the original. Don't misunderstand me. I'm just saying, for my money, I pick Miles 10 times out of 10. Miles is a hero you can't help but root for, and there's times where it blurs the line between movie and game, but in a great way. Not in the I'm just watching everything play out sense, but in the this is transcending the normal experience sense. Open world AAA games can get a bit too huge for me, but Miles Morales gave me the excellent adventure with perfect pacing that never overstayed its welcome. Hats off, Miles. You're the hero New York has now.
I doubt that. Bye, Haley.
Number 3. Star Renegades. I'm going to be completely upfront here, folks. Star Renegades is easily the best indie game I played this year. It's wonderful. It's a roguelike and a turn-based RPG mixed into one, with an action system similar to Child of Light or Grandia, based on the idea of when you act versus when the opponents act. You start with 3 team members of preset classes the first run, and from then on you can pick your starting team out of every unlocked class, as well as potentially discover more members who could join you as you play. Each unit feels different and unique, which encourages tons of plays to try different party mixes. Then if you take all that and add in a nemesis system, with enemies giving you the chance for rematches and to form grudges with specific enemies, and you end up with a roguelike that has no forced story, but has you creating a ton of story. Even better, the game stands out on its gameplay, because combat rarely, if ever, makes you feel like stats define things. It's your strategies that overcome deficits with enough planning. You can be up against an enemy that's far superior to you, but with a good team and the right mindset, you will overcome them. Add in a gorgeous and unique art style with bright colors and tons of tonal shifts, both within worlds and with multiple worlds, and you have an amazing package. Plus, if you have Game Pass, you can play it right now on either PC or console. If you play only one indie this year, I know so many people will recommend Hades, and I wouldn't honestly disagree with their choice as being a good one, but I'm going to tell you, you should absolutely play Star Renegades. Number 2. Yakuza Like a Dragon. Yes! Yes! Oh my god! Yes. Okay, you remember when Nintendo was like, hey, Metroid Prime's gonna be a first-person shooter, and everyone was like, I mean, okay, that's weird, but sure, and it turned out to be great? Yakuza Like a Dragon is that times 10, okay? It takes Yakuza's familiar open-world gameplay and turns it into a classic turn-based RPG. And I'm gonna be blatantly honest here, folks. This is literally one of the best RPGs I've played in years. The job system with levelable jobs for special abilities, unique character leveling by itself, a gear system, enemy position-based combat like Chrono Trigger, all of this is great. The only thing I was worried about, to be honest with you, I had high expectations, but the only thing I was worried about was the changing of the main character. And instead of having series mainstay Kazuma Kiryu, we got Ichiban Kasuga. But Ichiban is one of the best protagonists I've played as in any game, ever. Period. Point blank. With all the excitement and joy you could want. Like, it's so true. It's genuine when he says stuff like, when I get in a fight, my brain thinks in terms of Dragon Quest to justify the RPG combat in the game. Sure, it's got classic Yakuza exploration, wacky characters, surprisingly wholesome looks at things like personal fetishes or sex work or homelessness, and a bunch of minigames ranging from kart racing to classic video games in an arcade like Fantasy Zone or Space Harrier, Virtua Fighter 2, or even a full arcade port of Virtua Fighter 5. But when you add all that to an RPG that has excellent combat, great pacing, even greater characters, and like straight up dungeons to explore, you have a recipe for incredible success. In almost any other year, Yakuza Like a Dragon would be my game of the year. But this year has a single better contender. That said, if you love classic RPGs, I am absolutely begging you to play Yakuza Like a Dragon. Because, hey, it's never too late to start grinding.
All right, then. I'm ready to level up. Let's start a brand new age of heroes!
Number 1. Final Fantasy VII Remake. Listen, if you know me, you saw this coming. If you've talked to me about games this last year at all, you saw this coming. But it really can't be said enough. Final Fantasy VII Remake is one of the most fun games I've ever played. Yeah, it comes with this nostalgia, but that's just it. They actually met, and in fact surpassed, all the hype they've built up since that fabled PS3 tech demo years ago. The gameplay is excellent. Every character feels fun and unique and different from one another. The normal and easy modes are awesome, and the hard mode pushes you further, but more so causes you to rethink how you view the mechanics. And the mechanics themselves are faultless. What sells it as the best, though, has everything to do with it being a remake, both for good and for bad. Everything about Midgar is so much more, so much better than the original. Seeing everything and everyone be so alive and full of character, seeing more of Cloud as the guy trying to be cool and aloof, but really just kind of being a big dork, or Tifa as a determined woman questioning her place, or Barrett as a conflicted man trying to save the world, but also be there as a father. All these things make you want to see more. And for as much as is here, I haven't been this excited to see what a sequel holds since I was like 9 and found out Pokemon Gold and Silver were coming. I can't shake that childlike joy and wonder I ran through the game with, and I put a lot of time into the game. Like way too much. Like do everything in the checklist, 4 of every materia maxed out, kinda too much. I apologize for nothing. If you've never played a Final Fantasy, you can still love this game for everything it brings. And if you're familiar with all the FF7 lore, you're rewarded with an extra incredible experience. And truly, what's the best part about it is the potential. We know more is coming. We know more is on the way, but we have no idea how far it goes. And that is what really sells FF7. Final Fantasy VII Remake is without question my favorite game of 2020, and it's in contention with Fire Emblem Three Houses as my favorite game of this last generation. I cannot recommend it enough. I will not stop singing this game's praises. That's it. Play Final Fantasy VII Remake.
Let's get down to business, shall we?
And that's my list. There were a lot of really good games that came out this year. Dragon Ball Z Kakarot almost made the list. I even recorded footage for it, but when I started going over everything, I just couldn't figure out where to put it. But I really love that game. Immortals Phoenix Rising. I did a review on it, actually. You can find the card for that in the top right, if you want to see it. And I even said in that review it cracked my top 10, and I genuinely believe that. And I have the footage, but when I went and looked over my list, I was like, I can't include it. It didn't make it over the other experiences. But it's so good. Gears Tactics was excellent, let me tell you. If you have Game Pass, you owe it to yourself to play that game. But, hey, this was a subjective list. This was my top 10 games of 2020. What were yours? What was your favorite game? What were your favorite games? Give me a top 5, top 10, top 20. Shout it out in the comments down below. Tell me your favorite games. Just leave a comment, and if you wanna, maybe leave a like and subscribe for more, that good YouTube stuff. But listen, the real important thing is we all made it through 2020, and now we can look forward to gaming in 2021. And there is a lot of good stuff coming. Bravely Default 2 is gonna be coming out soon. Monster Hunter Rise is coming out this year. Final Fantasy 16? We got a lot to look forward to as our backlog continues to grow and build up, because there's never enough time. Anyways, I'm Anoriand. You can call me the Game Dad, and I'll catch you later, Game Dad fam. All right.